Subscribe to the channel and hear even more exciting stories. I wrote a letter to my younger self. What I revealed, hey there, kiddo. It's you. Or well, me. But older, a little wiser, with more gray hair than you'd ever expect. Trust me, skip the box bleach at 21. I never thought I'd be the person who writes a letter to my younger self. It always sounded so self-indulgent and Instagram inspirational. But here I am, laptop open at 2:14 a.m., insomnia raging, and for once, instead of doom scrolling, I'm reaching back through time because I wish someone had told me a few of the things I'm about to tell you. Why now? Because life just threw me another curveball. One of those moments that makes you stare at your own reflection and realize you're not the person you thought you'd be at this age. I spent years living by someone else's checklist. Study hard, get a real job, be agreeable, don't take risks, apologize for taking up space. And lately, it's all come undone. A relationship ended not with fireworks, but with a text and dead silence. The job I thought would make me happy left me numb. My friends? Scattered, busy, some lost along the way. Therapy helps, but sometimes the only thing that cuts through the noise is this, talking to you. To me. To the part of myself that still hopes and dreams and worries about what comes next. I wish I could say I'm writing because I've figured it all out. Spoiler, I haven't. Life is messy, weirder, and occasionally much funnier than you expect. I'm not here to warn you off every mistake. You'll need a few for the stories, but to shine a light on the things I wish I'd known when I was where you are now. Terrified and hopeful, aching to fit in, and already tired of pretending. So here goes. If nothing else, let this letter be proof. You will make it through all of it, even the things you swear will break you. And, weirdly, you'll thank yourself for surviving long enough to read this. Let's be real. You always felt a little out of place, didn't you? I remember how you'd scan every room for someone, anyone, who seemed like they really belonged. The kid in high school with the vintage band tees and confidence. The girls in your dorm who always laughed at the right jokes. The friends who didn't seem to worry about the future. You envied their ease, and you copied their scripts, right down to the awkward laughs and the sure, whatever you want, reflexes. Underneath, you worried you'd always be the extra in someone else's story. I wish I could hug you when you stare in the mirror and wonder if you're enough. You're braver than you know. I remember the small rebellions, writing poems in science class, sneaking out to late movies, saying no when you were expected to say yes. Those moments felt like earthquakes, but they were the first cracks in a shell you didn't realize you were outgrowing. You carried dreams like fragile glass, travel, art, a best friend who'd never ghost you, a love that didn't feel like a test. There were warning signs you ignored, too. Feeling like a burden when you asked for help, apologizing just for taking up space, letting yourself get talked over. You laughed off things that hurt. You told yourself you were too sensitive. But that sensitivity, it's not your weakness. Someday, it'll be your superpower. Don't let anyone train it out of you. Some nights, you'd write lists, things you wanted, things you were scared of, all the ways you might mess up. You thought you had to figure it all out by 21. That one wrong turn would ruin everything. If only I could show you now, the timeline isn't real. Your mistakes will teach you more than your triumphs. You won't lose yourself by saying no, or by failing, or by loving the wrong person first. All those fears, you survive them, and you learn they don't get to run the show forever. So breathe, kiddo. There's so much ahead. Some of it will break your heart, but a lot of it will make you laugh until you cry. Trust me, both are worth it. Here's the thing no one warns you about. Growing up isn't a straight line. It's a wild, squiggly mess of choices, screw-ups, and weird, quiet triumphs. If I could confess anything to you, it's that you don't have to be perfect or even good to deserve love, respect, or your own space in the world. I wish you'd known how many times you'd give away your power just to keep the peace. How you'd shrink your dreams so someone else could feel big, or bite your tongue because you thought conflict meant you'd lose everything. I wish I could go back and sit next to you the first time your heart was broken, not by some dramatic betrayal, but by the slow erosion of trust in a friendship that meant the world to you. You thought if you just tried harder, loved better, they'd never leave. But people do leave, sometimes for reasons that have nothing to do with you. You'll learn that heartbreak isn't a punishment, it's a passage. Remember the time you almost spoke up in class, but swallowed your answer because your voice shook? That will happen more times than you want to count. Each time, you'll get a little braver. One day, you'll speak and people will listen, and you'll realize that even if they don't, the point is you found your voice at all. You'll try to fit yourself into jobs, relationships, friend groups that just don't fit. You'll blame yourself. Don't. The things that don't work out aren't proof you're broken. They're redirection. You'll learn to walk away, eventually, even when your knees shake. And when you're at your loneliest, when you think nobody understands, when it feels like the world is going on without you, know that future you is here, writing this, proof that you made it through. The nights you cried yourself to sleep didn't mean you were weak. They meant you cared. That's a strength, not a flaw. So keep stumbling. Keep caring. There's magic in your mess. I promise. Okay, deep breath. Here come the surprises no one prepared you for. First, the people who promise forever might not mean it, and that's okay. You'll have friends who fade, lovers who go cold, mentors who disappoint you. It'll hurt, but not as much as holding on to people who already let go. You'll realize letting go isn't failure. It's making space for someone or something new. You're going to make mistakes that haunt you for a while. You'll trust the wrong people, say yes when you should say no, and you'll stay silent when you wish you'd screamed. You'll lose your temper with someone who didn't deserve it, and the world will keep spinning. Most people won't remember your worst day. That freedom? Learn it now. Most eyes aren't on you. Everyone's too busy worrying about their own mess. That's both terrifying and liberating. There will be times when you shock yourself. The day you stand up to a bully in a meeting. The night you walk away from someone who made you doubt your worth. The random afternoon when you try something new and fall in love with it, even if it makes zero sense on your old life plan. You'll discover that bravery doesn't come all at once, but in little bursts. Sometimes it's just getting out of bed and facing the day. You'll learn to say sorry and mean it, not as self-punishment, but as real connection. You'll learn to forgive yourself, too, for the small betrayals and big regrets. And, wild as it sounds, you'll realize your weaknesses, sensitivity, empathy, stubborn hope, are actually your best armor. Some of the best moments won't look like movie scenes. They'll be quiet. Finding your people in the most unexpected places, laughing with someone until you can't breathe, the first time you realize you don't have to hate your reflection. The freedom you craved isn't a single moment. It's 100 little choices stacked together. So here's what I wish I'd known. Life will knock you down and surprise you, over and over. That's not the universe picking on you. That's just proof you're living, really living, and learning along the way. Let's talk honestly about what those surprises and setbacks actually feel like. Because it isn't just a highlight reel. Sometimes it's a slow, exhausting trudge through rain, and sometimes it's a gut punch you didn't see coming. There will be days when the shame or sadness feels physical, like it's pressing down on your chest. I wish I could make it easier for you. But if you're reading this, you already know. Feeling things deeply is both a gift and a burden. There will be moments when disappointment stings more than you thought it could. You'll get rejections from jobs, from people, from dreams you poured your soul into. Sometimes, you'll convince yourself you were a fool for even trying. Here's the truth. The courage to want something is always worth it, even if you don't get it. The heartbreak, the embarrassment, even the loneliness, they're all signs that you're alive, that you care, that you're still reaching for more. You'll also surprise yourself with how much you can carry. I wish you could see how many times you'll stand back up, dust yourself off, and try again, even when no one's watching or cheering. Sometimes, you'll cry until your face aches, but then you'll put on your shoes and face the day anyway. That's resilience, not weakness. Some feelings you'll try to hide or outrun. Anger, jealousy, insecurity. You'll compare yourself to everyone and come up short. But those emotions aren't your enemy. They're signals, reminders to check in with yourself. You'll learn to listen. What do I need? What am I afraid of? What can I do differently next time? The answers won't always be clear, but the asking is the start of healing. Eventually, you'll find that every heartbreak, every failed attempt, every time you felt lost or small, was teaching you to become your own home. You'll build resilience by accident at first, and then, one day, on purpose. And in the end, that's what makes the next chapters possible. Not that you never hurt, but that you learn you can survive and still choose hope anyway. Every life has a pivot, even if you don't recognize it right away. For me, it wasn't some cinematic moment. No slow-motion rainstorm, no dramatic speech. It was smaller, but more real. An ordinary afternoon, staring at my own tired face in the bathroom mirror, realizing I didn't want to be the person who apologized for existing anymore. I just couldn't do it. I wish you could see that moment, not because it was magical, but because it was quiet and still changed everything. The build-up? Years of saying yes when I meant no. Years of being the friend who always listened but rarely spoke. The partner who molded myself to fit someone else's expectations. The kid who didn't want to disappoint. Eventually, you run out of ways to bend. Something inside you, stubborn, scrappy, maybe a little angry, finally whispers, "Enough." For me, that voice got louder after a heartbreak that should have destroyed me, but instead woke me up. The day I was left, not with closure but with a gaping why. I had to decide if I was going to chase approval forever or finally ask myself what I wanted. I started small. I told a friend the truth, even when it made things awkward. I quit a job that paid the bills but killed my spirit. I wore clothes that felt like me, not like a version of myself someone else would approve. I set a boundary and stuck to it, even when people pushed back. And every time I chose myself, even just a little, it got easier. I wish you could skip the pain, but I know you won't. That's okay. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You are allowed to want more. You're allowed to be complicated, loud, shy, angry, soft, uncertain. You're allowed to be a work in progress. The world doesn't need your perfection. It needs your truth. The turning point is never about one moment. It's about 1,000 tiny choices to put yourself back in the story. To stop waiting for rescue and start being the hero you needed all along. And yes, you're more than capable, even on days you doubt it. Especially on those days. If I could travel back and whisper anything to you as you curl up in bed, overwhelmed by everything and nothing, it would be this. Give yourself the same kindness you reserve for everyone else. You are so quick to forgive the world, to understand the hurt in others, to offer a shoulder or a joke or a midnight text. You think that makes you weak, but it's your greatest strength if you learn to include yourself in that circle of care. Here's what I'd tell you, bullet point style, because I know you love a good list. It's okay to outgrow people. Some friends will fade, and some loves will fizzle. That's not failure. It's evolution. You don't have to explain your boundaries. No is a complete sentence. Anyone who needs a 5-paragraph essay doesn't really respect you anyway. Your worth isn't measured by your productivity. There will be whole seasons where you're just surviving, and that's enough. Stop waiting for the right moment. It'll never come. The first step is the hardest and the ugliest, but it's the one that actually changes things. You're allowed to be disappointed. Life will not go according to plan. Grieve the plans, then make new ones. Apologize when you mess up. Mean it. Then forgive yourself, even if it takes a while. Ask for help. Even if your voice shakes. Especially if your voice shakes. Comparison will eat you alive if you let it. Their timeline is not your timeline. Their success is not your failure. You'll find that the more honest you are, the easier it is to attract people who get you, who love the real you, not the performance. The right people will celebrate your weirdness, your passion, your messy process. And you'll learn that being alone sometimes is better than being surrounded by people who make you feel lonelier. If you take anything from this, let it be that you are worthy of love, joy, and forgiveness, even, especially, when you're convinced otherwise. Treat yourself like someone you're learning to trust. The world will catch up, I promise. You might be wondering, okay, but does any of this actually matter later? Let me reassure you, it does. All the little rebellions, the heartbreaks, the nights you lay awake overthinking, and the mornings you got up anyway, they add up. You don't wake up one day magically healed. Instead, the lessons layer on top of each other, like rings in a tree trunk, each one marking a season you survived. Looking back, the moments I thought would break me became the foundation for the life I have now. The jobs I lost made space for opportunities one never saw coming. The friends who left made room for people who saw me, really saw me, and loved what they saw. Every wrong turn was a detour that brought me to a place I never would have dared to imagine for myself. I've learned to trust my own voice. I don't silence my opinions to make someone else comfortable anymore. I walk away from drama. I don't keep people in my life just because we have history. If they make me feel small, I let them go. That took years, and you'll stumble over it more than once, but every attempt is progress. There's a quiet confidence that grows from all those painful lessons, a sense of self that doesn't need constant approval. I wish I could show you what it's like to look in the mirror and not flinch, to wake up excited, or at least content, with your own company. You'll find your weird, wonderful rhythm. One of the biggest surprises? The joy that comes from helping others who are where you once were. You'll see your younger self in strangers, friends, even your own family, and you'll offer the compassion you wished for. That's how you break cycles. That's how you leave a legacy, not in perfection, but in honesty, kindness, and the quiet courage to keep trying. And just so you know, the you reading this letter isn't finished. I'm still learning, still healing, still screwing up sometimes. But the foundation is solid. Every version of you, messy, scared, hopeful, helped build it. For that, I'm endlessly grateful. One of the hardest and most beautiful lessons I've learned is this. You have to become your own friend. Not the hype you up on Instagram, kind, but the quiet, stubborn ally who stands by you when the world goes quiet or cold. For most of my life, I thought self-compassion was just a buzzword, something you did after a yoga class or read about in self-help books. But it's messier, slower, and much more important than that. It means letting yourself off the hook when you mess up, not to escape responsibility, but to give yourself permission to grow. It's about sitting with your own pain without instantly reaching for distraction or denial. Some nights, it's allowing yourself to cry and then making tea instead of berating yourself for still not being over it. Other times, it's looking at old pictures and forgiving the person who didn't know better. You'll spend a lot of years carrying old stories about who you are, unworthy, too much, not enough, broken in ways that can't be fixed. None of those stories are true. They were written in moments of fear and shame, sometimes handed to you by other people. The only way to change the story is to write a new chapter, one where you are patient with your stumbles and proud of your persistence. Self-compassion isn't loud or glamorous. It's in the little choices. Going to therapy even when it scares you, saying no to things that drain you, letting yourself rest without guilt. It's also forgiving yourself for not being further along than you think you should be. Sometimes you'll regress. You'll believe old lies for a day or a week. You'll catch yourself performing, people-pleasing, forgetting how far you've come. That's normal. The victory is in catching it sooner, in offering yourself a gentle correction, not a punishment. With time, your own voice, the one you thought was too quiet, too scared, will become your anchor. You'll learn that you don't have to earn rest, happiness, or kindness. You're already worthy. And every day you remember that, even for a minute, is a win. Keep choosing yourself over and over. It gets easier. So here's how I'll close. Younger me, you will make mistakes. You will grieve, rage, and, yes, even embarrass yourself, sometimes spectacularly. But you will also grow into someone braver and kinder than you thought possible. You won't always have the answers, and you don't need them. Sometimes all you need is the courage to keep showing up for yourself, even on the messiest days. You don't owe the world perfection. You owe yourself honesty, curiosity, and compassion. You owe yourself second chances, and third, and 50th. Let yourself want what you want, even if it changes 100 times. Let yourself rest. Let yourself laugh at things that aren't supposed to be funny. Let yourself love, even if it means risking pain. That's where life is. My advice: stay open. Apologize when you need to. Forgive yourself as fiercely as you forgive others. Keep writing your story, even when you're sure it won't matter. It matters. You matter. If you remember nothing else from this letter, remember this. You are enough, right now, as you are. The world will try to convince you otherwise. Don't listen. The best parts of your life will be the ones you never planned for. And the person you're becoming? They're already so much more than you ever dared to dream. With love and stubborn hope, your future self.